Hi, I'm Tessa Allen. I'm here to help small business owners understand what information to give their tax preparer. So there's two different ways to count car expenses. There's the standard mileage rate, which I am a huge fan of. It's over 50 cents a mile. It changes every year. And you drive 10 miles, you got a $5 deduction right there. I'm a huge fan of that, and I really try to get everyone to use the standard mileage rate if possible, if it's beneficial for them, which is for most of the people I work with. Now, the other way is the actual expenses. So it involves a lot of record keeping, which if you're really good with that, and you also buy a kind of new, more expensive vehicle, and in about 5 years you think you're gonna trade that in and buy another new, more expensive vehicle, maybe actual expenses works better for you. But if you're someone who buys a cheaper vehicle, plans to keep it a long time, and drives a lot of miles, I guarantee you, take the standard mileage rate. It's easier to deal with, and I think over the long run, it's going to be so beneficial. Now, the standard mileage rate, in that, 50 whatever cents per mile it is in the year you're using it, it counts like all of your car depreciation, all of your gas, all of your oil, all of your repairs. That 50 whatever cents covers all of that. And so people oftentimes are kind of disappointed that they don't get to use, all of the money they paid to their mechanic this year. But I'm telling you, in the long run, a lot of times it's better. But you need to talk to your tax preparer about your specific situation, because for you, maybe it's not better. Now, the one thing is, if you choose to use actual expenses instead of the standard mileage rate in any year, you're stuck using actual expenses until you get rid of that vehicle. So it might be really beneficial for you for the first few years, maybe the first 5 years, because that's how long a vehicle depreciates. But then that 6th year, when you don't get to count your vehicle depreciation anymore, it isn't necessarily that great of a deduction anymore. And you're not allowed to switch back to standard mileage rate at that time. So I really try to get people to think about the standard mileage rate. Now, you just keep track of your miles. You should have a written record of the date and where you're going, and then how many miles that is. Is it a round trip, or are you going from place to place to place? People who are in bands that are traveling on tour, or say you're doing craft shows in different locations, you're going to keep your mileage from the whole trip. If you're just in town and you're doing errands and you're meeting people and that kind of stuff, then you want to keep a record of all those little trips, because man, they really add up, and it is one of the best deductions that you really don't want to miss out on. Now, some of the ways to keep track these days, there's an app called Mile IQ that makes it really easy. You do have to pay for the app, so I understand if you don't want to do that, but it's something to look at, because it will make your life a lot easier. If you want to just keep a little notebook in your car and write down your mileage every time, you could write down your odometer reading. The IRS loves it when you write down your odometer, but you gotta be consistent or it's not gonna make any sense. One thing, a lot of people come to me and they have not kept any records at all for the whole year, and you can still figure out your mileage. Get out a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, and also get out your calendar, your email, your bank account, and Google Maps or Yahoo Maps, whatever you want to use. And look at your life over the last year. This is going to take some homework, but you can do it, and it is so worth it. So you have your whole life spread before you, You can look at your calendar and you can look at your receipts and you can be like, oh yeah, I totally went to this place. I totally forgot about it. I met so-and-so there. And we had this business meeting. So you write on your spreadsheet or your notebook paper or whatever, this is the date, this is where you went, and this is how many miles it was round trip. And that is your written record. So much complicated stuff to tell. How do I make it simple?